Hello and welcome to my February wrap-up, and this one is going to be a pretty short one, I would say. I read 8 books, 4 of them were novellas, so not going to be talking about those too in depth, and then 4 full-length novels. I was in a little bit of a reading slump and still in a little bit of one as well, but I hope to make my spring TBR after this, and hopefully that will get me into the mood of wanting to read the books that I talk about more and get me more excited for those books to read this spring. I do live in Minnesota where it is currently, a lot of snow on the ground still, so there's not really spring, and that has definitely put me into a little bit of a slump as far as reading and other things that I enjoy doing, but I am hopeful that I can just manifest spring and it will just start getting a little bit warmer and the snow will start melting just a little bit, even though I know that there's not too much spring here, so I'll take what I can get. But let's get into the February wrap-up, and first I will be talking about the novellas that I read. And like I said, I'm not going to be talking about them too much, except for one that I really, really enjoyed. So the first novella that I read in the month of February was My Best Friend's Sister by Q.B. Tyler, and I ended up rating that one 2 stars, unfortunately. I don't know, it was like the writing style, and I was like, it was a novella, but it took me a couple days to read it because I was only reading it at night, and I just could not connect with the characters, and I didn't really love the writing style in that one, even though I really love all of Q.B. Tyler's books that I've read besides this one, and still want to read more books from her because I do recommend her as an author. I just didn't love this book. But it was about Ava and Jackson, and Jackson was told to look over Ava by Ava's brother, and then Ava wants some lessons in seduction, and then since it was a novella, they obviously fell pretty fast and hard for each other. And then I did read some more novellas of the MindF series. I did not finish that series, but hopefully I will soon. But I did end up reading Sidetracked, which I rated 4 stars, and then Scarlet Angel, which I rated 3 stars. Altogether, the series is getting about 3 stars from me, but I know everybody really loves this series and really loves the later books, so I hopefully will like the later books more as well, and I'm not going to be talking too much about those books in depth at all, really, but it is just a woman serial killer, and an FBI agent, and he thinks he is trying to track down a male serial killer, and it is actually her that he needs to track down. And that is all I will say about that series. Hopefully I will finish that one very soon though. And then the last novella that I'm going to be talking about is Flow by Kennedy Ryan. This is a prequel to the Grip trilogy, and it was really, really good. I rated it 4 stars. I don't know why I haven't moved on to the other books. Like, I did start Grip, I believe it is, but then just some other audiobooks that are due sooner has taken more priority. So I will read Grip, and I really did love Flow. And it is about Grip and Bristol. This is just like a prequel, like I said. So it's meeting while they were in college and college age, and they are just very drawn to each other. And it's another brother's, it's another brother's best friend situation. And they were just very drawn to each other. And then obviously, since it is a prequel in a novella, it has a cliffhanger ending. And then this whole novella only spans a week of time. And then I will go ahead and start talking about the full-length novels now that I read. So I read 2 more Bergman brother books, and now I'm just patiently waiting for the newest one to come out, which it just feels weird not having any more books. I do have one more Chloe Lease book that I need to read, but it just feels weird not having any more books in the series to read. But I did read With You Forever, and I've just really been loving this series and cannot wait for the newest one. If you if you could not tell. So With You Forever is about Axel Bergman and Rooney, and it is a age gap and marriage of convenience. And Axel has autism, and he is a shy artist, and it's slow burn. It has IBD rep, and like I said, it's a marriage of convenience. So he can help fix up his parents' A-frame, I think it is, cottage, and yeah, it was such a good book. I highly recommend this series, but really liked this one. And then Everything for You. This is a soccer romance, and it is male between Oliver Bergman and Gavin, and it's a enemies to lover, another age gap, and it has anxiety and chronic pain rep. So I absolutely am loving this series by Chloe Leese, and if you have not read the series, definitely get started on it. First book took me a couple tries, not gonna lie, but once I got into it and got really into the series, I'm very invested now, and it's definitely one of my favorite romance series, even if I don't give all the books 5 stars, and I might even raise these ratings because 4 stars is really good, but like, they were really good, and I cannot stop thinking about them for sure. Especially Everything for You, like the enemies, like banter, and the grumpy sunshine, like so good. And then Oliver, it also has caretaking in it for Gavin. And if you have not read this book yet, or have been putting this book off in the series, definitely read that one before the newest one comes out. And then the last 2 romances that I read for February were Set on You by Amy Lea, and I gave this 4 stars. And this was actually, I put it as my favorite romance as the month. On Instagram, you do like your favorite book of the month, and you try to keep track of that, and I have been trying to keep track of that. And I actually put this as my favorite book of the month, just because I really liked the plus size rep. But I really they all tied, the Bergman brother books and this and Set on You. Really, they all tied, but I had to make a choice. And so this is a part of a series called The Influencers. And when this book first came out, there was a good amount of hype around it, but then there was also a good amount of bad reviews too. So I was like really skeptical. That's why I didn't read it for a whole entire year. And I have heard some not great things about the second book, but I still want to give it a try because it is about a bookstagrammer. But Set on You is about a plus size fitness influencer, and it's a enemies to lover with her gym nemesis Scott, who is a firefighter. I love a good firefighter hero. And they run into each other at their grandparents' engagement parties, but first they are definitely enemies at the gym and kind of compete at the gym a little bit and just have this, like, you know, hating, not really, just like competition and groveling at the gym. And then they get to know each other more through their grandparents. And yeah, it's very, very good, and really recommend that one if you have been putting that one off as well. And then last of the month, I read Sweethand by N.G. Peltier, and this is Island Bites book number 1, and this one's kind of getting a good amount of hype back. I think it came out a couple years ago, but Kayla from Books and Lala read it, so some other people are reading it too. I just saw Gabby read it, so it is getting hyped back a little bit. And I have actually owned this book for a while on my Kindle, so it was time to get to it. So it is about Charisse, and she swore off any guys in the music industry because her ex was in the music industry, and she was done with that. And then she is also a baker, and Kevin is the hero in the book, and Kevin and her have to plan a friend's wedding, and they definitely butt heads while planning this wedding and end up kind of like a friends with benefits situation, and then obviously 2 lovers. And I rated this one 3 stars. It just wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be, and it did take me a while to read and get into, so therefore I can't give it really higher than 3 stars, but I do recommend it if you would like to give it a try. Really all of these books I do recommend, besides My Best Friend's Sister, but it does have some pretty good reviews on it. I just didn't really love it. And yeah, that is my 8 books of the month. Pretty short February wrap up. Hopefully March is a little bit longer with a couple more books. We'll see. And I did have an average rating of a 3.5. And that is everything for my February wrap up. So if you like this wrap up, definitely leave any color heart emojis or even like a rainbow of heart emojis in the comments, and like and subscribe this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.